Hi Aquarius, I hope that everybody's doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. Okay, first card that we have out is Ten of Swords. This looks like you are looking back into something. This would be a situation that is not presently occurring. This would be something that you're looking back into. It can be, there would be reasons why this is coming up. It feels like you went through this thing, and even though it's over, you could feel like there's something that you need to go back and comb through. But this wouldn't be like a super nostalgic thing to be looking back at. This could be something that feels like kind of unpleasant to revisit. However, I'm seeing that you feel like this is necessary because there's something that you're looking for. So this can be like a time in your life or like an event, a situation that you found yourself in, a memory. I guess like all of it would be connected with a memory of some sort, like a past experience of some sort. But it would have been something that was like difficult in some way, challenging in some way, something that you could have been like, well, I'm glad that's over, I don't want to go through that again. Maybe that's also part of the reason why you're looking into this. But yeah, there's something, it's not just like looking back into something and reliving it in a rehashing type of way, meaning you're not going to make progress. To have judgment here, there's like something specifically that's linked to this that you are looking for. So it can feel like I missed something, or I didn't see something, or I'm trying to put something together here. It can be like that sort of thing. Some of you, this happened between like you and somebody that you have a close relationship with or had a close relationship with. So there's the thing, whatever that was, there's the looking into it because I need to comb through and find what I'm looking for. You can feel like until this is done that you can't move forward, because I'm seeing that once you find whatever it is that you're looking for, even though it can be like unpleasant to have to go back and do this because reliving it can be bringing stuff up for you. You feel like this is necessary because you're accomplishing something by doing this. And then I'm seeing Eight of Wands, which means, and the Moon. Okay. This is helping you uncover something. It's helping you move through something that you can still feel like there's like darkness around it. Meaning things to be brought to light. I'm seeing the Tower pop out. I think that you're going to find something very unexpected. I wonder why. What's inspiring you to go back and look at this? So you're moving into the Moon. All right. This thing that I feel strongly like this already happened, like this isn't something that's like currently occurring. This feels like something where you were like, this left an impact in some way, or it hurt in some way, or it was like a very challenging time, or that specific thing, I feel like it made such an indelible mark on me in some way. So it's something that feels very significant, like very palpable, like visceral even. Now, having you look into it, having the Judgment card is like, I want to get a magnifying glass and I want to go through all of this But I do feel already that, as I said before, there's something very specific that you're looking for, and it seems too that it's going to help you. It's going to help you move through something that you may not fully understand yet at this point. And I'm seeing too that you're going into something that's like subconscious. You're going into something that could have been like a fear to revisit. You're going into something that may be like hidden, but this means that you're going to reveal something that wasn't revealed before. And I'm seeing there be a tower behind the moon. So this can be like you're going back in like the files of this memory, and you're going to come across something that you were not expecting to find. Like you weren't expecting to see this. But that's what's also, like for some of you, you may be like, I need to revisit this and I don't know what I'm looking for, but I know that I'm gonna like know when I see it. And this is what's happening too. So you're like going through it, and when you spot this thing, like there's no way you're gonna be able to miss this. And it's something that, even though you had this feeling of like looking back into it, I don't think that you were expecting it to be this, what it is that you find. But it was something that stuck with you. It's almost like when you just feel this like impulse to need to like go back into something, or it's like you're driving away and you're like, wait, I need to like go back really quick, and you just move back into that. But this is something like energetically or like mentally that's happening. But it's this thought almost that you can't get rid of. And it keeps popping up because you're meant to go back into this. But there can also be this part of you that's like, I just wanted it to be over, so like I didn't want to have to go back into it, but it's like nagging at you is what this feels like. This is something that could have felt like, what I'm seeing is you be in the middle of something here, actually. I'm seeing Seven of Pentacles, and I'm seeing Seven of Swords. Seven of Pentacles is like what's currently being invested in. And if this is you, you're very focused on this thing that you're planting in the garden, and you're sort of like doing what you need to do in order to take care of this. Seven of Swords. This can be you doing something to sabotage an investment that you're making. This can also be like somebody else's, but you would have a feeling about this. But I get the vibe of this almost happening like behind you. So while you're over here focused on this, what you have going on, it's like something's going on in the background and you have a feeling about it. Whether this be your own subconscious shadow or it's like another person that's involved. This thing that happened that you felt like was a painful event or scenario, whatever it was, it seems like it happens in the midst of you pouring energy into something. So it can be like you're in the middle of doing something and then the thing occurs while you're like in the middle of doing that thing. And there's something here about addressing the shadow that's related to this, because it seems like something happened that was shadow related, which can mean that there was like deception or sabotaging or betrayal of some sort, whether this was you, whether this was another person, something like that. But it's like those types of themes that are being experienced. It's not really about like where it's coming from. It's more so about it being experienced in some way, but it can take different forms for everybody. So it's more about like, yeah, the themes of what's being experienced archetypally. So having Judgment and having Seven of Swords, this is looking into whatever this was where we felt like like there was a lack of truth or a lack of clarity or a lack of transparency in some way or a lack of understanding. This feels like something that you could have felt like this snuck up on you. Wow. Okay. I'm seeing some strong Capricorn energy. Capricorn, Pisces, Mars. I'm also seeing Pluto here. And the King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Seven of Pentacles, something being invested in. So it's like tending to this thing, nurturing this thing, and it looks like it's something that like one has been tending to for a minute. This is something, it seems like it's substantial at this point. Like it's visible, you see it's rooted, like that sort of thing, even though it's not like fully matured, whatever this manifestation is. Seven of Swords then seems like something going on that would like get in the way of this, because you see how this person is like over here doing this, and the Seven of Swords almost looks like it's sneaking up on them. And obviously, like if it's going in this direction, whatever this is, which Seven of Swords is like sabotaging in some way, whatever this sabotaging or shadow is, because it's traveling here, it's like implied that it would get in the way of something that's currently being invested in. So whether again this be like you or somebody else, it's like some type of thing that's going on like mentally, but it can even be like something that's taking place then physically in some way that would get in the way of like what everybody's been putting their energy into, or even like what you've been putting your energy into, if this is all you. But it seems like another person is involved, because I'm seeing the Two of Cups here. So this would have to do with you and somebody that you've been like working closely with or interacting closely with currently. So we have that going on. Then we also have Knight of Pentacles here, which is usually seen as somebody doing things in a way where there's like intention behind it, where there's thought behind it. It can also be something moving at a pace that feels elongated in some way. Doesn't feel like the most fast-paced thing. Something that's taking some time. But usually this is seen as like making a gesture where there's a sense of like integrity and responsibility that's associated with it. But then we also have the Devil. So this can be like an offering that's being made to something, or like a gesture. Because you see how this thing over here is being brought over to the Devil? It feels like making a contribution to something that would be like out of order in some way. So it can be like adding on to something that's going to take things in a direction that it may be like tempting to go in that direction potentially, but it's going to be something that ultimately impacts the Two of Cups. Because like when the Devil gets involved in the Two of Cups, it creates something that then becomes like toxic in some way. So like when you have the Two of Cups by itself, you see like union and you see harmony. Having the Devil be attached to it, it's like a way where it can be, this will make us closer or something like that. But it's in a way that's like cheating to get there, and then it ends up like actually spoiling the relationship. because it turns into something that it's like not sustainable, like a not the type of way to do that where this feels real even. So it almost like bleeds the authenticity out of it. So what this seems like, but I do get the feeling though, like having Knight of Pentacles here can be somebody thinking that like this is the way to go, but there's like an issue with it because it's coming from a shadow space. So somebody can be like, well, I'm showing up as the Knight of Pentacles, and so there's this thought or even this perception of what's being contributed is coming from like a very solid space. But to have the Devil here, it's like it shows you actually that something else is going on. But I do feel like there's a lack of awareness or a lack of understanding here for this. Because to have this and like in between, this be in between the Seven of Swords and the Devil, it means that like although the thought is like I'm coming through as the Knight of Pentacles, it's surrounded by a situation that almost like won't allow that to fully take effect. And also too, like the symmetry of this, having Seven of Pentacles and having Two of Cups feels like there's a relationship that's being invested in. When you go to the middle of this, it looks like somebody's trying to make a contribution that's associated with the investment, but because we have Seven of Swords here, it means that something shadow-like is taking place. And also the Devil means that like if this continues or if this like transaction energetically goes through, it's going to it's like you have clear water between you and this person energetically, and this is going to put like dye or like murkiness within it, and then it like spreads into the whole thing. So you think of like a cup of water where it's like clear and you can see through it and you know what's going on. Whatever this is that's happening, it's like being dropped into the water, and then it's going to like disperse and like be pervasive. So that's what I'm seeing is like the situation of what's going on here energetically. And it feels too important to note that the King of Pentacles is on the bottom of the deck. And that may feel significant, or yeah, significant in some way. Because that can even tell you archetypally something about what's going on here, or even one of the characters involved. Let's say this too, if you were the one that was on the receiving end of this, you could have had somebody coming through. I do feel like this, I can see like both sides of this, where it feels like whoever this Knight of Wands was, not Knight of Wands, but that's interesting that that's coming through. Knight of Wands is usually like an archetype that's seen as being like impulsive or doing something that like hasn't been like well thought through or thought out. Having this Knight of Pentacles here, if you're the Knight of Pentacles, this can be you doing something where it's like there's something that you're trying to accomplish and you may think that you're going about it the right way, but if you have honest self-reflection, you're realizing that this is coming from a shadow place and that it's only going to like ruin things, and that you can't have like intimacy or closeness with the Two of Cups if this is the way that you're entering into the scene. Because Two of Cups can be like, you actually do have a connection with somebody, but the Devil is between the two of you. So that means like something very problematic and even toxic that's connected with this, or something that would not allow you to have a healthy dynamic with this person. And also having Seven of Swords here too, it means like somebody's not being truthful. But even though they're showing up in a way where they may not fully be recognizing this, like I feel like this person that is coming through to do this, like this Knight of Pentacles, they're perceiving themselves as a Knight of Pentacles. They're not perceiving themselves as a different knight, which means that they think that they're making some sort of solid contribution. They're just like not aware. So it feels like if for those of you that you're on the receiving end of this, or like however it is that you're involved, if you're not the Knight of Pentacles, this is somebody that it seems like they're in a place where they maybe weren't understanding that what it was that they were offering you was like tainted in some type of way, because it was basically like a shadow investment. Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. So this is somebody doing something where like not everything is illuminated, not everything is in the light. And it feels like it's like a gesture being made towards another person that they may even want to be close to, but it's creating toxicity within the dynamic because somebody's not being fully upfront about something. And as I said before, this feels like you were in the middle of doing something, like you may have been in the middle of trying to invest in this relationship with this person. And it feels like it came to an end. And it feels like for some of you, this is something that happened more abruptly. For others of you, it was just unexpected because you were like, hey, we were in the middle of doing this and things were going really well, because you see like Seven of Pentacles is like nurturing this and doing what we need to do for it. But having Ten of Swords here is something, it's like the whole thing gets wiped out in some way, especially too because we have the Tower over here. So then there's calling judgment on the Seven of Swords. So it's either, for some of you, if you're connected with this Knight of Pentacles, you may be looking at this and seeing how pain came from the way that you chose to move through something, and taking the time to recognize this and check out how your shadow was involved. For those of you that you were on the receiving end of this, you may look at something and be like, I feel a lot of pain about the way that this thing concluded because I was in the middle of it and it feels like premature the way that it ended. And you may be analyzing and being like, I'm seeing how maybe stuff that this person was telling me, something wasn't lining up. So you're either like learning about another person's shadow or you're learning about your own shadow. And even if you're learning about another person's shadow, that means that you're simultaneously learning about your shadow too. Because if you're being completely honest with yourself, whether the Seven of Swords comes from within or comes from without, you're going to be able to know something is up. So this feels like by you looking back into this, you're going to be like, like I'm seeing where something wasn't lining up there. So it's helping you be able to see like what was actually going on and what was taking place. Whether you were the one that was doing this, where you're like, now I'm aware of like what was motivating me and that I wasn't really being honest, or like whatever it was doing that you were whatever you were doing that was shadow related, or you're checking in and being like, I see when they were doing that and I got a feeling about it, but I wasn't giving like more awareness to that, or I wasn't really acknowledging it. So either way, there's like an understanding of being able to read yourself better, being able to read other people better, and knowing that like there was a feeling there with the Seven of Swords, but it may have taken like looking into this to actually recognize it. Because having judgment here feels like maybe this wasn't something that you were immediately noticing, but through taking the time to actually reflect on and look into this, you see something was going on there. And I'm seeing that also help put you into a spot where it feels like you can move through after checking this out in a solid way and sort of take what's going on here and make the next steps that you're taking be something more grounded and fruitful for you. I'm seeing behind the moon was the Devil, the Tower, and the Two of Cups, which means that what was hidden was something was going on that was connected with the devil, which just means some type of situation that was happening that was not necessarily in the light, and that came from a place of some type of like illusion, attachment. But ultimately, the devil is associated with like an attachment to what isn't rather than what is. And that's why it's associated with everything else like crumbling after it. but it can be something that wasn't immediately recognized and wasn't immediately seen. So behind the moon, which is like behind the curtain of what we may not have been seeing before, was the devil. So that's something where it was like it's out of alignment, it's like unhealthy, it's like not of like a light of awareness, that type of thing. Something that like can't really breed the type of dynamic that you want with a person. You have a Tower because of that. Because whatever was happening was connected with the devil. The devil was like at the front of this thing. So it's something that, like, things are not supposed to be growing in that direction. So the Tower comes through and knocks it down. And it feels like this all impacted a connection that you have. And I'm seeing this, as I said before, like, this is something that already happened. But you're going back into this and, like, combing through. And that's what was going on here. And some of you, you may have seen this person as being a King of Pentacles. So this can be somebody in like a position of authority. They may have like a job that's really important to them, or that like other people think a lot of. You can see them as being, they can be an earth sign too. Lots of different things that can be associated with this. Or like their career being significant in some way. That doesn't have to be the only thing. Family man, for some of you I'm hearing. Which I see as just being an archetypal thing. It's not connected with gender. So yeah, if you're looking into this and you're trying to figure out what was going on, that was what was going on between you and this person. That's why things came to an end. It was because things weren't being built properly. Like there was a lack of a proper foundation. And if you know that you weren't the one in the shadow space, it was the other person, that they were doing things shadow related, and that's why the Tower happened. But some of you, you weren't aware of this because you didn't know, because how else were you supposed to know? Like the moon is here, so that means it would have been hidden. So you wouldn't have known that something was happening in that way, but you would have also been impacted by the Tower. And for some of you too, this could also like impact another relationship as well. Potentially. Just because behind the moon is also a Two of Cups. So there can also be something else about a relationship that was not revealed to, potentially. Okay? That also doesn't mean that you didn't or don't have a real connection with this person. It just means that there's like a lot of like karmic baggage that was attached to this that ended up not allowing things to be like a pure Two of Cups that could continue. There was stuff going on that ended up like tainting it energetically, essentially. So it would have been something that trapped one rather than like liberated one. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.